You're listening to the BJJ Globetrotters Pirate Radio Podcast, brought to you from St. Bart in the French West Indies. We talk jiu-jitsu, traveling, and people who do things a bit different in life. I am your host, Christian Graugard. Hello everyone, and welcome to the BJJ Globetrotters Pirate Radio Podcast. This is episode 15. I am at home in St. Bart. I'm sitting in my living room, and I am on Facebook Messenger with Valerie, a Canadian girl who's been going to quite many camps. She is currently stuck in Kazakstan during the lockdown, and she went there to teach and train jiu-jitsu. There was an invitation in the members of BJJ Globetrotters Facebook group. You might have seen it if you follow that group. And I thought I would, when I saw that she took up the offer, I thought I would, that would be a good opportunity for a podcast episode to speak with her. But anyway, it didn't quite turn out exactly as she imagined, since Kazakhstan is closed, and it does look like she can get a flight out in a few days. But anyway, I wanted to call her, and then we talked a little bit, and she said, she's so tired of traveling in airports, and now she just want to go home. And this year was the year where she planned to do like a lot of traveling and a lot of camps. And she has done 7 camps so far, and she had really been looking forward to doing her 10th camp and get the 10 camp pizza. But she might not do that. So I said to her, you know what, I'm gonna call you up for the podcast episode, and I'm gonna order you pizza in Kazakhstan from the Caribbean, and we'll have a little talk about your experience there. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I am right now sitting in my living room, and I am she's on my messenger, and I'm just trying to get her address right, and I'm looking at a few. I've been googling pizza Almaty, which is the city she's currently in Kazakhstan. So I'm looking at a few like pizza ordering services in this town, and it's all in Russian. So I'm gonna have to try and do this with Google Translate or something. I imagined I would try and order her some exotic stuff, like I don't know if they have camel cheese or something. I'm being like super prejudiced here, but this would be interesting. So I'm gonna try to order her some food. I know she's starving. It's morning in St. Bart, and it's evening. It's like 7:30 at night in Kazakhstan right now. She's gonna do a quick report from when she receives the pizza, and then I'm gonna call her up and do an interview a little bit later, probably in the morning her time. Anyway, so I'm looking at 2 websites right now. One is called Shoko Food. They kind of do have an English option, but it only translates like a third of the words. And there's another one called toppers.kc. It's in English, but I think I'll go with the Shoko Food. It looks a little bit more adventurous. I put it in English language, but to be honest, don't understand anything. So I can definitely put in her address to, it says enter delivery address. So that is Gagarin Avenue. Find restaurants. Okay, let's check this out. Okay, so there's a map of Kazakhstan. I can now see where she lives. Oh, nice neighborhood. Very nice. There's a button saying there is no my address. Okay, yes, this address is correct. Oh, there's a gym across the street from her. Okay, there's a few options here. There is Del Papa Orbit. They have good reviews. Oh, Cibo Sano. They have 24,000 reviews. That's a pizza place and high reviews. But I'm going to scroll down a little bit and be a little bit adventurous. I'll see if someone has like really bad reviews. I know she's really hungry, so I'm just going to go. She might as well. I'll see what I can make her eat. They all have great reviews. Even the worst ones have like 4.5, 5 stars. That doesn't sound very trustworthy. It's like literally every single restaurant has like perfect review. Who's in charge of the Caribbean Kazakhstan internet connection? It's horrible. Translate. Yes, please translate. Let's see. Philadelphia with cucumber. I'm just gonna order random things from Google Translate because this is just too funny. Okay, Chiposano. They have like 23,000 reviews, so I'm gonna go with them. And there's no pictures of the food, but the names are amazing. Let me just do. I just need to figure out how much this is. So 1,700 Kazakhstani tenge or something. Okay, that's not bad. And let me see in euros. This is like €3. Okay, I'm gonna go shop. I'm gonna go shopping here right now. Okay, I decided on Chiposano. I'm gonna get something called Mega Chicken, whatever that is. The price of Mega Chicken is €3. So a 32 centimeter Mega Chicken. I'm just gonna order this. Add to order. Yes. What else do we have? I understand all of this. So, here are the pizzas. She definitely needs a pizza. I'm gonna get Canada called sushi called Canada because she's Canadian. So, okay, Canada. So let's see. There's a bit of that, and here comes the pizza. Okay, I'm gonna get the pizza with the best name. Kazakstan. Mega cheese. Oh my god, Moscow. What do I get? Supreme. I'm honestly just gonna get a Kazakhstan pizza. It looks as exotic as it sounds, I will say. I'm gonna get the Kazakhstan pizza. It's like €5. It has onions, mozzarella cheese, kasi, zaya, and pizza sauce, whatever that is. Okay, she's gonna get a Kazakhstan pizza. Voila. Oh, sauce. Let's see what they have. Any specialties? Okay. Gamadari sauce. I have no idea what that is. I'm gonna get that. Dessert Napoleon cake, obviously. Barbie wings. I'm not sure that's a good thing to try. Okay, so I think that should do it. Let me check the basket. Let me check what I got. Make an order. Okay, make an order. Voila. Private house. I guess what is this saying? I need Google Translate. Translate from Russian to English. We'll do that for the listeners. What does it say? Private house. I guess it's private house. Okay, I'm gonna say private house. I can't translate this button. I'm just gonna push it. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Payment confirmed. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you for your order. This is very confusing translation. I'm gonna send her the screenshot. She says choco food. What the fuck? She says the review says it'll take 2 hours and the seafood comes from the local river. Let's check the reviews now that I already ordered, so it's safe to read it right now. Pizza is not spicy. Spit is not tasty. Okay. Instead of a liter cola, put 0.5 and are silent. For the price, it is not very expensive, but the food there is pretty decent. Plus cola there. You can get a Coke. I recommend it to everyone. That's a lot of people to recommend that for. Like literally every single person he meets. Raw pizza. There are few fish in land. Awful delivery man. Pizza is a disaster. This is even in an epidemic and emergency, not food and suicide. Oh, I'm so excited to hear her review. Didn't eat, remained hungry. I didn't quite understand the taste. Oh, that's a way to put it. Okay, so we just found out it's actually a Chinese restaurant. So I just ordered pizza from a Chinese restaurant in Kazakhstan. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so we'll just wait for the delivery of the pizza, and then I'm gonna call her back when it's morning in Kazakhstan, and then I'm gonna have a chat with her about how was the food, obviously, and I'm super excited to see the pictures of this order. So I'll log off my computer right now. I will get some work done, and I'll call her back later tonight when it's morning, and we'll see if the pizza is still good with the morning coffee. Hey Valerie, how was the pizza?
The pizza was amazing. Scary, but amazing.
Do you have anything left, or?
No, it's all gone. Come on. I even add that sushi. I still don't know what's in it.
I picked the sushi because it was called Canada.
So the sushi was Canada, the pizza was Mega Chicken.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what Mega Chicken was. I just picked Mega Chicken just from the name. There's no picture or description. I just ordered Mega Chicken, and I was very I was so excited to hear what it was.
Yeah, and so I guess the pizza was Mega Chicken, and I've had horse meat before, but it was always like ground meat. So when that pizza showed up with the big chunk
Right, it
of
was
like
horse. Okay.
horse meat steak with like the fat layers on the side, the whole thing, I was like, okay, yeah.
I didn't know. I just picked it because it was called Kazakstan. I couldn't see what was on it, but horse, that makes good sense.
Yeah, and yeah, no, that was definitely horse.
Wonderful. Well, that's not too bad. The horse is good meat.
No, it is, but here it's actually their delicacy. Like they keep saying that Kazakhstan's a country of meat and dough, and it's pretty much it. Every time I've eaten with people, it's always tons of meat, tons of dairy, and bread, dough. So everything's a variation of it.
Nice. I'm just going through the pictures of the pizza right now that you sent me. It looks delicious. Well, so okay, let's start from the very beginning. You take like 1 minute to just give a bit of background background about yourself.
Myself, okay. So I live in Montreal, Canada.
Used to live there.
Yeah. yeah, that's actually accurate.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
And on my Smooth Comp profile now, it says I live in Kazakhstan because to register for a local jiu-jitsu tournament, I had to be a resident. So I was like, that's just, I'm officially from Kazakhstan. So yeah, I'm from Montreal, Canada. I'm an immigration officer back home. So I've been doing jiu-jitsu for six years or so. I've been traveling in the past 5 years, maybe 7 or 8 countries every year. So that's it. Like I've been in Kazakhstan. Well, this year I've been to Vietnam. I left in January. I biked all the way through Vietnam, all the way to Cambodia. So that was about 1,000 kilometers I did. Then I traveled through Cambodia. Then I went to Thailand, and I got stuck in Thailand because I guess it was the beginning of the COVID-19. But it wasn't really serious back then, which sounds like a long time ago, but it was only 2 months ago. I went back home for 12 days, worked, and then I flew back here. And yeah, the disaster started. Like my first flight was canceled, so I missed my second flight. I missed my connection. I got stuck in Switzerland. Then they rerouted me through Turkey. So yeah, so this is yeah.
Okay, and I met you. I met you at a few camps, and you came to visit me in Saint Bart. The only person
In the beginning, actually.
Yeah, when I just moved here, that's right. And you're the only visitor I had that walked the entire island.
Yeah, I still have my map back home, actually. I walked the whole thing.
Not too bad. Well, there's not much to do here, so you might as well walk the entire island.
And it's like the only thing that's free, right? The beaches and walking. It's pretty much the only thing that you can get for free in Saint Bart. So.
And sunshine.
Yes.
All right. So anyway, that was a bit of background about you. So there was this post. I just found it on the members of BJJ Globetrotters group, which was in January. So it's actually already 4 months ago. I'm just gonna read it out loud. I'm not sure if this is the original one. Okay, I'll read this one. Looking for a female brown or black belt, approximately 50 kilos, to come to Kazakhstan and teach lessons for a minimum of 2 months. Compensation includes round-trip airfare, housing, transportation to and from work, personal driver, and salary. All needs will be met. Food, sightseeing, etc., etc. A guy called Adam. And then there's like 75 comments on this, and people are like super, super suspicious. They're like, oh yeah, I remember I deleted so much from this one because people were like, that's like super shady. This is very suspicious. It sounds too good to be true. And that's the same every time somebody posts in that group about like some job offer or something. Like there's even this place in Thailand. They invited someone for 3 weeks. Was like, oh, that's a joke. Like they're just trying to get someone to kidnap or like
Yeah.
or like how I can't make a living off of that money you're gonna pay me for that. How am I gonna pay my bills? Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And
like instructors around the world are getting rich, like teaching, right?
yeah,
So
exactly. Um, anyway, so all the negativity aside, and all like the super suspicious, and people like, but this is not the Western world. You're gonna die for sure if you start to go around there anyway. But there's a lot of positivity as well, I must say. And of course, you were there right away. Blah blah blah. Valerie's right there immediately. I will 100% go. I speak Russian. Is that true?
yeah, I started learning Russian behind my girlfriend's back last year because I thought it would like impress her. So yeah, I'm getting good.
You can order vodka and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Anyway, so you were all over this. Let me see if there was another one. This I'm not sure if I spell. Oh, here it is. More detailed info. This is like a week later. Oh, this is long. Okay, so this is very long. I'm gonna link to this. It's very long. It's actually very well like written, and there's 100 comments on it. Wow.
Mhm.
And then you're like, seriously, hit me up. I just need the dates. I can be there. And what happened from there?
So from there, I think they picked up 5 people out of all the people who messaged them, and they said, we want to get in touch because everybody's like, oh yeah, I'll do it. But when they say, okay, can you come next week? Nobody's like, oh yeah, I'll come.
Were you in Canada or still traveling at this
Yeah,
point?
I was in Canada, but I was like on my way to leave, like a few days after. So I told them, I'm like, look, I wish I had known before because I wouldn't come back home for like 12 days
Right.
to then fly across the world again. But I'm like, my plan is all made. Like I got the bike, I got my stuff is packed, I got people with me on that trip that I've been planning for like 8 months to go bike through Southeast Asia. So I'm like, I can't make it right now. But I'm like, as soon as I come back, if I can get my vacation approved, which I knew wouldn't be a problem. I'm like, I'm just gonna go. So they're like, okay, no problem. And within 24 hours, like they paid my airfare, everything was set up. We're like in contact on WhatsApp, and that was it. Even during my trip in Asia, we would touch base like every few days, like
Mhm.
everything's still good, yes, like no injuries, how's the tournament prep coming, like etc etc. So it was all super smooth, super legit. So as soon as I came back home, I kind of unpacked all my beach stuff and my and my bike stuff and my warm stuff, and I just traded that for more geese and hoodies, and I just did my few days of work, and I got dropped at the airport to come here.
Right. And so what did so I think the job description was pretty like detailed,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think
The thing is,
even
it was not really like it's teaching, but it's also how can I say that? Being a female enforcer,
right.
which doesn't exist here.
Right. Let's
Like,
get
so
back
I
to
think that
let's get
that's a
back to,
yeah.
to that a little bit later. I just want the whole story from the beginning. It's so people read this and they're like super suspicious about, well, usually people are super suspicious about anything that's not the country they live in. Like I see
Hmm.
that a lot, and I've traveled a lot to a lot of strange places. So, but maybe I would like to hear from you. Is like, why are you not suspicious about something like this?
Mm, I've traveled enough alone as like solo female, to know and see if something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Like the risk is always there, no matter where you're going. Like I have risky jobs, I have risky hobbies. I've been in El Salvador and Dominican Republic. I've been in many places. Like there's no point in worrying if you do your homework and you check things out a little bit. Uh, like Kazakhstan is developed. Like it's not like just Borat. Yes, but not really. Like so to me, like to whether it was Kazakhstan or somewhere else, like as long as there's no rioting in the street and civil problem or like a severe lack of infrastructure, uh, going anywhere, like I don't see it as a problem. Like my main thing was, can I get in touch with those people? Like, can I have a serious conversation, or is it like some like catfishing operation? So the moment I can get like a real conversation happening with someone who's here and asking the proper question, like why do you need someone? What's the situation over there? Like what is it gonna be like? Because it's new for them too. Like it was a first time thing that they're trying. So I wasn't scared. I wasn't like nervous. I think we've seen way worse ads posted in BJJ Globetrotter, like way worse posting, and where they're almost saying, "Yeah, we're gonna take your visa or your passport." You know, like as long as like things are legit and I have my own place and I'm not being forced into anything. To me, it's just an experience. And at the end of the day, if I'm not happy after 2 days, I just take a cab and I go home. So there's always that possibility. So I don't know why people panic so much. And like, I just gotta say, like, I've processed thousands of asylum claimants in the past year, and I haven't seen a single person asking for asylum from Kazakhstan. Like, like to me, that's my main indicator of where I'm not taking my next vacation. Like, like I see so many people on a regular basis wanting to ask for asylum, and nobody comes from Kazakhstan.
Right.
Nobody asks for asylum from Denmark. Nobody asks asylum from Poland. Like it gives you like an idea where in the world it's stable. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be modern or just like home, but it's not home. So it's normal. But is it dangerous? Like real dangerous? And the answer to that question is not at all.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, from my own perspective, I've traveled quite a bit to, as I usually say, I've been drunk and stupid in every dangerous corner of the world, and nothing has ever happened to me. I think it's if as for me, it's always if I know some locals or I get to know some locals that I can kind of hang out with, then that kind of fixes everything. And also that, I mean, usually people who say like, oh, I always get in trouble, but I never do anything. There's probably something wrong if they always get in trouble, you know? Like, I never get in trouble. I've never gotten in trouble. I've never been even in any sort of altercation. And I have been to some strange places and bars in the world. But, you know, I think as long as I think this goes with what you say is that if you can have a conversation with someone there and you can kind of connect and they know the place and they know their way around and you just kind of hang out with them and then it's fine. It's not like they're getting kidnapped every single day, you know.
No, like, and you see, like, there's this time in the country that I did end up piss drunk, stupid, and in the clinic with an IV up my arms, and like, and I'm like, oh my god, where am I? I think I don't know if my alcohol or something was wrong with it, but like the doctor, I kind of wake up from the solution is giving me, and like I'm getting rehydrated, and I'm like, my first question is, where did you go to medical school? I didn't really care about him, but and with
Was that in
and with that,
Kazakhstan or
yeah,
what?
No, that
Okay.
was somewhere else. And like, yes, like the situation itself, you kind of freak out. But I wasn't really worried about what's going on with me. I want to know who's that person.
Right.
Like, and the moment, like you said, you establish that relationship,
Mm.
okay, like is the guy there to harvest my organ? Perhaps. But right now, like I'm trying to know him. I'm trying to understand what's going on.
All right.
And the guy looks very trustworthy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like you say, there's risk and there's danger everywhere you're gonna go. But the moment that you meet the people and that you have some kind of connection, it's not the risks are not there. And I like it's not only about jiu-jitsu, but there's also that aspect. Like the person is willing to pay thousands of dollars to fly me across the world so like I can choke them.
Right.
Like I mean, who's got the bigger risk there? Like she like so no, Kazakhstan, yes, I did my reading, but I didn't want to overread it or overplan it.
I think that could be a dangerous thing because even if you read on the U.S. like official travel advisory, it'll say there are places in Denmark that you shouldn't go, which is like the biggest joke ever because like, nothing ever happens. So, and but no matter, it's like whatever opinion you want confirmed, you just Google that and you will find it, right? So if you Google like crime, this and this place, you will always find something. But just because a crime happened somewhere doesn't mean it's gonna happen there again and again and again, right? Like what is it, can someone on the internet just predict where all the dangerous people just hang out all the time or what? I don't get it.
No, like the only thing usually I'm gonna Google before I go somewhere is what type of currency they have, what's the immigration thing, and is there anything I should like, what's the weather? Those are my three things. Like what to pack, am I okay with my passport? Do I need some kind of document? And can I get a SIM card and what's the money?
Right.
Because once you get those things figured, the rest is fine. Like you're gonna survive. Like even if you're on the street, you're gonna be okay.
Right.
And I always bring a couple US dollar because it doesn't matter where you are in the world. US dollar, you will find a cab.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the world is the world always looks dangerous if you just sit at home and watch it on TV. And especially if you imagine that where you live is like the center of the planet. And everything else, the further away from your home you go, the more dangerous things must be. But in reality, if you actually go out and look, there's really nothing there. So you said you rode a bicycle 1,000 kilometers in Thailand or whatever, where it was.
Yeah.
And it's like people say, "Are you crazy?" You know, but honestly, when you go out there, I have experienced nothing but nice people everywhere in the world.
Yeah, like my girlfriend was with me when we were in Vietnam for the bike trip, and we're taking like pictures, but we quickly realized like it's gorgeous, and that's the best way to see a country. Honestly, is biking. Like you see everything, and you can stop and talk with the people like right away. You don't have to plan. Oh my God, we should stop like in half an hour. You stop now, and that's it. And at the end, we realized that like if we were to make a calendar of all the pictures, it's 95% high fives. Like they don't speak a word of English, especially if you're outside the big cities like Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. Nobody speaks English at all, but they're so happy to see you, and they want you to stop, and you get high five, and people like they bring you in their house. You have no idea what's going on. Like they will just like bring you to show you their rice field, and they're trying to feed you. And I thought I was gonna lose weight. Let's be real. Like I was cycling about 100 kilometers a day, in mountains most of the time, and I gained weight. Like I gained weight during those 15 days because people would not stop bringing food. I would like stop to eat, and it was like 1 meal, 2 meal. I was like, please stop. Like I have to bike. Like, I can't do this. But they're just there, and they want to talk, and they want to connect. and you can't talk because you don't speak Vietnamese. But they just sit there and they look at you and they're so happy you're there.
And what do they do now with social distancing? No, now it's not even high five anymore. So now it's
Oh,
too
I have my
late.
plenty of it was the beginning in Vietnam, and actually they just it was the long Tet holidays. It's like their New Year's mixed with the super long holidays in Vietnam, and everybody gets off for like 2-3 weeks. And the thing is, they just never sent people back to school. Like they stopped it before it really started for them, because trust me, they don't know social distancing there. Like you've been in Southeast Asia, like they're cooking on the side of the street. Like I was walking in certain streets and I'm like, oh, like this looks nice. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm in someone's house. Like, oh, I thought I was looking to a back alley or a shortcut to go somewhere. And no, the lady's there washing her dishes. So I'm like, so like, and they're just like smiling. So there's no such thing as like social distancing. But they knew at least that by stopping school, it would help. Because little kids, they touch everything and they touch everyone and they will just cough in people's face and they don't really care, you know? So they just never sent the kid back to school in Vietnam as of January. So when I did my trip, they were not in school. So they actually had kids everywhere. So yeah, in big cities, people were worried, but outside of the big cities, I would say people, like their life as usual is like they have 12 dogs and a cow and a horse, and they're working in the rice field. So for them, virus or no virus doesn't really affect them. Like most of them, they didn't even have electricity in some places where I was. So like for them, it's not really a concern, I believe, or it wasn't in January. So it didn't change much. And trust me, like I did jiu-jitsu there in every places I've been in Southeast Asia, even at like a place where the gym was closed because of the holiday, but because we contacted them, they threw a special open mat in Vietnam. So like people were not worried much, and people get really excited to have women coming to do jiu-jitsu.
Right. So
in a lot of places.
Let's get back to the Kazakhstan story.
Yeah.
So there was this nice description, and so you decided to go, and everything was set. So what did you expect, and how did it actually happen?
I didn't have any expectation. All I knew is that someone was supposed to wait for me at the airport. And
I mean, like, what did you imagine it would be like, to be there? Like straight out of Chernobyl, or like?
No. Like I knew it was of all the Stan countries, Kazakhstan is considered to be like one of the most developed, and I'm saying quote unquote, like place. So, but I knew that the amount of money they were like offering, that it's like almost twice the amount of money that like people make here on a daily basis. So I knew I wasn't like coming here to come like in a yacht and a horse, you know? So like I wasn't like too worried. Like I started like just checking like expat forum just to know like stuff I should know about like quickly. Like all I knew is I was gonna have my own place and that someone was picking me up at the airport. So for me, my bases were covered. Like there's gonna be jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna have my own place, there's gonna be Wi-Fi. I'll figure the rest after I sleep.
And the job was like, let's see, tell us about the job description.
Yeah, so what's going on here is there's like 2 or 3 big gyms. Like it's not like Gracie Barra or BTT like back home. It's like Kazakhstan top team and Checkmat mostly. And they're big rivals. So I at first what I understood was, okay, we need to train the women from one gym because there's the competition is really intense, one against the other. Okay, no problem. I don't have any affiliation, so sure, let's do it. But then after speaking with people from here, what I understood is jiu-jitsu for women in Kazakhstan is so new and is so not really accepted that there's competition in the gym. Like, women will not train together. Women refuse to train together because they're worried that down the line they will face each other in competition. So it's like that really old school mentality of yes, we have to train at the same gym because maybe we live close by or whatever, but I'm not going to train with you. And it's almost like high school mentalities where, okay, so I have those people are my friend in the gym, so they will not train with you. And you have your people in the gym and you train with your people. I will train with my people. And we're not there to grow the sport. We're one against the other. So that led to like some really bad and toxic competition within some gyms and injuries as well. So what happened is that some women started their own place on their own time to have their own opportunity to train and not be one against another, but grow together. Try to grow the sport in Kazakhstan and grow the sport in the city, but without being at each other's throat. So that's why they wanted to bring other women for, like, the main part was to be a healthy and safe training partner in I can say dangerous environment. I'm not gonna lie, and also showing women that it's possible to stick to the sport, like not stay there just like a few months and then leave, and just also bring a woman's perspective of how things are like going at home. So that was what I understood before I got here. And then when I came to Kazakhstan and I saw how things were, that was clearly, like, that was obvious that there's like some problems in gyms here when it comes to female doing jiu-jitsu.
What are the problems?
Of all the like hundreds of gym I've been to in the past few years, my first night that I trained, like without the people I had contact with, like I was like, oh, I'm just gonna drop in and go to a gym, right? I've never felt so unwelcome and uncomfortable and unsafe like that in my entire life. Training in the place, like, it's a mix of religion and society, and like a lot of the men, they don't want to roll with women because they consider them to be inferior. I'm just gonna say it like it is. A lot of the men, they don't want to touch women because their wife doesn't allow them to touch women, even if it's in the context of sports. And a lot of the men, because of religion aspect, they just cannot train with women. So if you add the fact that there's a big culture of sambo and wrestling and grappling and martial arts, and the guys are all really, really, really in shape and really, really, really good. Even they start and they've probably been wrestling for 15 years, you know? So like they come into jiu-jitsu, but it's not their first time stepping on mats. You mix that with little supervision and women who are like 50 kilos. Like I witnessed it. Like it's not good.
And this was a little bit of the description in the job offer, was that this girl that they needed a training partner for had broken her ribs like 4 times or something.
Yeah, exactly. Before she kind of split from that gym, decided to get some mats and start their own thing. Like she had like many injuries, and like when I got there, I honestly, it was not just the language or cultural like thing going on. There was a room with 40 people and I had trouble getting 6 or 7 rows.
6 or 7 rolls?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like for open mats. Like it was packed, and doesn't matter if you ask or make eye contact or do any type of fancy dance and motion saying that you want to roll. They won't even look at you. And if they give up and they want to roll with you, they will crank everything. And because of the leg lock games here and how developed and advanced some stuff is, like they don't care if you're visiting. they don't. They will go. Everybody goes 100%.
I definitely had these similar experiences when I've been teaching and training a bit in Russia, like a few times, or like Eastern Bloc countries, and there's quite a bit of this definitely that I've been running into, and it's definitely a different training culture, very different, but also kind of obviously more interesting if you're not 50 kilos girl.
Yeah. And but also what I've noticed is that the people though that you roll with and that you connect with again, they will do their best to speak English, and I will do my best to speak Russian, not Kazakh, obviously. And they were very nice. Like a lot of people would sit with me and they'll be like, look, I'll explain to you, those people in that corner, that's who they are. Those people in that corner, that's what they do. Those people in that corner, I was even told, those people there, they're the criminals. And I was like, excuse me. and they're like, I'm sorry, I didn't use the right word. I mean like gang. I'm like, okay, you're not helping yourself. Keep trying. Let's go. We're doing this. And the guy's like, but not like murder. I'm like, okay, keep talking. And the guy's just giving me description of everybody. He's like, no. He's like, I mean, it's the people who smuggle stuff across the border. I'm like, okay, this is better. Like, this is much better. Like, you should start with that.
Right.
So like, it was like people start like explaining to you why they won't roll with you. Like, don't take it personal, you know? Like, it's not because it's you. And they will like give a little bit of context. And then after that, it's good because they will talk to those people. Like, hey, the person is not there just for one day. Or the person is not there like to prove themselves. Or the person, like, I'm not a spy. Like, I'm not coming here to check all the tricks you're teaching women. Like, so the moment like you start building that relationship and you start showing up every day, like already it was getting better. And then the government announced that all the gym were closed.
Yeah, okay, that's nice. But that was a shame. What a shame.
Thank you.
Well, at least we're all in the same boat, you know? Like, but I think from my experience in kind of these cultures where it's really like training is pretty hardcore, it's anyone. It's funny because I would think about the kind of the attitude on the mats or the attitude in public in the street, and I was thinking, damn, this is the hardcore, like tough, like nobody trusts each other kind of place. But then I think about all the people that I know there, like every single person that I get to know a little bit are like the nicest people ever. And it's kind of weird because then I think it can't just be exactly these people that I randomly met that turns out to be super, super nice. It's just, I think there's definitely a different like public facade, so to say, or like a different kind of attitude in public than if you know people. And I think maybe that's also what you're running into on the mats right there.
No, absolutely. And like the moment people realize that you're not just there like to just drop in, but that you're actually trying to like build a relationship there, and that you're actually coming and that you're like trying to talk to people, and they see that you keep being rejected and in beginning, like with those culture, and like they see that you're not playing their let's go to war game when you're rolling. Like it's not like a competition all the time. People start opening up, like everywhere I've been, like everybody like who gets injured or go hard, like at one point, like it's gonna happen, but people like they will apologize and they will stop. Yes, they have like that mentality, like they're going crazy all the time here, but like after that, like it's okay. Like so they will still give you advice, and they will still try to call you a taxi, and they're actually very protective on certain aspect. Like of course, maybe because I'm half your size, people are a little bit more protective towards me than they've been towards you when you travel. But in certain countries, I've definitely um, witness like some kind of tough love, you know. So I think it's interesting, but the mentality here has definitely been it's a first on all the places I've been. It was definitely a different atmosphere on the mats. So that's why it was also different when I was training with the women here, because they kind of started their own thing.
Right.
With different time to train, and different time also because it's more convenient during the day because the kids are in school. Because for most women here, training in the evening is just it's not an option. Like here, women, they have a very, very traditional place. Like Kazakh society, usually you're gonna live with your parents, with your grandparents, with your brother, with your aunt, with your sister. You live with everybody. Everybody lives together in a room. Sometimes it's a bigger room, sometimes the room is split, but everybody lives together. But having that jiu-jitsu class at 7 at night, for most women, when you have like 4, 5, 6 kids on top of taking care of an extended family, it's not a possibility. Like they can't make it. Like most of them, they can't travel during the night. They can't get a ride. They're like, the society is very, very different. So for them, they needed a different time frame, or they needed like to feel safe as well. A lot of the women here, when I trained with them, they were their training fully covered because of their religion. Like so, they can only train with women on top of already wearing long rash guard and having their head covered and all the stuff that comes with it. So they need that different time. They need that safe space. They need that different time frame that's going to allow them to train. And for me, it was like almost magical, that first class that we did. I think we were 7 women, and some of them, they had been waiting for at least 4 or 5 months to come back to training, because all the gym across Almaty, where I am in Kazakhstan right now, like they all had been canceled, because they're like, oh, we put women's class for you, but you're not coming, so we're just gonna cancel all the women's class. But they never bothered to ask why. Why women are not showing to women's class at 5:30 p.m. so so those women, when they came to our classes that we plan in the middle of the afternoon, they all showed up.
And was
Like
this
they
was
all,
this the classes that you were kind of originally invited
yeah,
to do?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And they all came, and they were all excited to practice their English, and they kept bringing me food. Like Kazakh people, they really like to feed you. Like they like to make you feel welcome, and they like to really like make sure that you're set up good. So they kept bringing me dessert and magnets and stuff about the countries, and like very, very nice like environment. Like once you get to know them, and when those women came, they were so happy. Like they're so happy to have like techniques and to have a real class and to be drilling, and they were so happy that like they got to do jiu-jitsu.
And how was the level of English there in general for the
Well,
classes?
I'm in a big city, so I would say maybe everybody under 25 years old understands English good enough. But the person inviting me here, her English is pretty good, so she was able to translate in both Russian and Kazakh, because even if you speak Russian, not everybody speaks Russian. Kazakhstan is in this weird place in the world where they identify as Kazakh or Asian or European, depending to where they're from. So you can be very fluent in Russian and nobody will understand you because not everybody is Russian. So we kind of all met in the middle. Like, I think broken English is the best language.
Yeah, that's what I've been traveling with everywhere. Just like travel
Yeah.
English, that works.
Yeah, exactly. Broken English, business English, just and for jiu-jitsu, like it's a bit like self-explanatory.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of head movement, like yes.
So how was
so the
this?
classes,
How was this training then compared to the other that you just described?
it was great, like because they're so eager to learn. They're so interested. They're so happy that like there's something that's just for them. And for them, it was such an opportunity, but it's also the social aspect of being able to leave their house. So it's not just about jiu-jitsu. It's being able to have something that doesn't have anything to do with their family or their husband or the social, like the way that society here is like built. For them to be able to like get like a private driver to pick them up, to make sure everything is safe, drive them to the gym. Everybody trains together. After that, after every training session, everybody will all eat together here. It's kind of mandatory. So people show up to training and they bring food. They show up with pizza, they show up with the food they made, they show up with whatever they have. And like we all like train for like an hour and a half, then we talk, we like drill a little bit, then we all sit and we eat. I've tried not staying to eat and it's not allowed. so, so it becomes like a big thing. It becomes like a celebration almost that lasts like 2-3 hours. And then like they get all dressed like normally and they get picked up and they were like being dropped off at home. So yeah, and some of the women like they were coming and they were bringing all of their kids. We had a little corner with bean bags and the kids were just playing together. It wasn't bothering us at all, and we would just train like no big deal. And then the training was over and that was it. And everybody was between like 50 and 65 kilos. So no risk, no injuries, but they would still go hard. But the risk of injuries when everybody's 50 kilos still lower. You can go really hard, you're still just 50 kilos. So yeah, so that was the training aspect until the government shut everything down again.
And how long did you manage to train for there?
I've been here for 6 weeks now, so it's been, we had at least 3 weeks of like steady training many times per week, and then it was more of a let's try to do this and maybe we can go around the government checkpoints kind of training. And then people just kind of got nervous. Even if the gyms were not officially closed, people got nervous to be outside, or the school got shut down before the gym. So like people got stuck with their kids at home, so they couldn't make it to training anymore. So we just kind of, and then the government announced that everything was going to be closed, and then everything else happened, so we had to stop. But I'd say that half my time here, at least, we've been able to train almost every day.
How long were you supposed to be there originally?
2 months, and the original plan was also like after the Zen Camp in Poland this fall, was that I'm just gonna take a one-way ticket and then I was gonna come back here, because it's not that far. So I mean, it might still be in the book, but you know how things are right now. So we don't.
I'll get back to that.
October is very far. So, but yeah, like they like having me here. So, and I like being being here as well, and because it's a trust building process more than a teaching gig. So they don't necessarily want to have 10 different people to come over. Like if someone is comfortable, if someone is already like aware of the situation, I think for them it's better that way. And after maybe a little while, someone will be able to teach, or the community will grow, and maybe they'll be able to do everything here. So that's mostly like I think in the long term that's what they're trying to get. But they're just getting started. Like I think there is all the women here were white belts, but they all actively want to compete. They all actively want to train. So it's I don't think the idea is gonna stop. So they just need to have the structure in place to be able to like keep doing it.
About that competition, did you manage to compete, or was that canceled as well?
I registered to every competition, but now they were all postponed. But yeah, like it's like $5 to register here to tournaments. Most of the tournaments here are on ADCC format. They don't like the IBJJF at all. So it's mostly ADCC format. They have this organization called Arlen Grip. So they do a lot of tournament, mostly no gi. And even when they do with the gi, it's like ADCC rules with the gi. And it's like, it reminds me of like 10 years ago back home when you were a woman and you want to compete. It's white belt or colored belt all together. So it's because there's not enough women,
right.
And the weight division is pretty much we will make bracket when you show up.
Right.
So it's like that. But belt here, it doesn't matter. Like you've trained in I think in Moldova and in Eastern Europe, like belts here when everybody has some kind of background in judo or sambo or martial arts. Doesn't matter if the person's a white belt in jiu-jitsu, like you should always be careful.
Yeah, I can't count how many I would say Russians or that white belts that I rode with who were also like 20 years of judo and powerlifting.
Yep. Like I remember when Charles Ariat came to Montreal, I brought him to my sambo gym. So technically my sambo instructor has never done jiu-jitsu. And he's 28 years old, but he grew up in Kazakstan and in Israel and in Russia. So he had competitive roles with Charles, who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So it was so it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Like grappling is grappling here. When they say let's wrestle, they really mean it. Like it doesn't matter. Like, and if they pull guard, you know they're going for your feet. And if they stand up, you think you're safe. No, they're gonna take you down.
Right.
So it's really interesting.
What about like how is like your daily life been there? How is it now? You've been there for a while, so I mean, I guess you're in some kind of rhythm of how is life in Kazakhstan?
I would say life is very good. Like the place is the city I'm in is so nice, and it's a mix of big city with like infrastructure, and they have their own Uber here, like called Yandex. Everywhere you can go, it is so cheap because it's an oil country. So everywhere you want to go, it's going to cost you like $1 almost, so maximum. So you can get everything everywhere. And it's a big outdoor place because it's a city, but then you get like old Soviet Olympic installations and a lot of mountains, a lot of some people, they come here during winter just for snowboarding. Right now the mountains are closed, but like even when it's still warm outside here, you can still go to the mountain, and it's only 15 kilometers away, and you can still be snowboarding in t-shirts in the mountains here. They have this big ice rink on top of like the mountain. Like it's gorgeous. The place here is so beautiful. Like I open my window and like I can see the mountains like right there. They're right in the city. There you don't need to like go outside. You don't need to be make a day out of it. Like people will just take a cab and like, oh, I'm going snowboarding for 2 hours. Like they have those cable car systems, so you can go there also with that. They have a lot of viewpoints. They have a lot of museum in the city center. Like that, the place is a mix of old Russian architecture and museum, and but also they really like to be outside. Not right now, but when I got here, I was really surprised that like they love food. So their lunch break usually is around 2 hours, and everybody's doing some kind of exercise and walking around. And like, oh, on my lunch break of 2 hours, I'm gonna take a cab and I'm gonna go hike a little bit, and then I'll go back to work. Like to me, it's very strange. Because like back home, most people they're on the lunch break. It's half an hour. It's not paid, and they're almost working when they're on break. But here people will just take the time. Like they'll take the time to go outside, to socialize, to meet up with people. Like all the places I visited was mostly I was on expat forum just to know like schedules or looking up for stuff to do, and people were like, "Oh, no problem, let's meet up, and I'll go with you for the whole day." So all the stuff I've done, I didn't have to really plan anything. Like people, like local people, would be like, "Hi, I want to practice my English." So don't worry about anything. Let's just meet at this place and I'll take you to this mountain or I will take you to this attraction. And people were just picking me up and okay, no problem. So it's been really interesting because I didn't really have to overthink things. You just show up and everybody wants to practice their English.
Imagine if
Everybody
these
will
people
everybody will
imagine
they will
it,
all play guide with you.
imagine if they posted that on the Globetrotters group. Hey, I live in Kazakhstan. I want to take you to the mountains. Just let me know where I'll pick you up. Let's see what people say about that.
Oh my God, don't even get there, seriously. Like but I also had like private messages after that post, huh? People like warning me.
Did you manage to make some local friends that were not like in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, absolutely. Like and it's people who don't live in the city necessarily. And I was feeling bad. Like the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get there. It's only 2 hours by bus." And I was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, I can just send a taxi. It's gonna cost me $3. The guy's like, no, it's okay. It's gonna make my day. Because a lot of the people who don't live in the city but speak English, they all teach English. Like that's mostly what they do. They teach English online. For them, it's really good money here to be teaching English. Like you will make more money than most Kazakh people going on a regular job. So everybody who's been to school either in Turkey and Russia, in the US, everybody who speaks good English, they will all end up teaching English from home.
Right.
And so those people were like, no, it's okay. I'm really happy. So people were like actually taking buses for like 2 hours one way to come show me their mountain. Like, I'll pick you up. You can try the local food. I can translate for you. Did you know that we have a subway system here? I didn't know that. Like they would take me just like in the subway, like happy to show me that like they have a subway now, and like bring me to a bunch of places. Like it's just been really really nice. I've been hanging out only with local people.
Do they have one of those like super impressive, enormous old Soviet subways?
No, it's actually quite new. Most Kazakh people they're actually not even aware that there is a subway. And when you go there, you actually don't pay the subway. You pay a lady. She gives you like a poker chip,
right?
that you then put in the thing, and then someone opens the gate for you. So the machine has no use. Nobody in that process has any use because at the end of the day, someone is opening a gate for you.
I'm just looking it up. It says 23 years of construction. to build the subway. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so they have a subway. It's only doing the main street, like it's not a multi-line subway, but the traffic is really, really bad here. So from what I understand, is some people will park at one end, go work in the city center with the subway. They also have trams. They have a very developed bus system, and it's very cheap. I think it's like if you have your card, it's around 50 tenge, which is nothing. As of today, 50 tenge it's not even 20 cents.
Right.
To take the subway, or to take a bus. So yeah.
I would say just
it's really weird.
To anyone listening, going to any of the old big Soviet countries, I definitely recommend checking out the old subway systems they built back then. They're really, really impressive. So anyway, back to the theme. So that sounds pretty nice. So you've been enjoying your time there? You have not been like kidnapped once or twice or something?
No, not at all. And something I did to reach out to locals before coming here, because I had heard that it's actually really hard to order some stuff here. Like it will get stuck at the border, or custom will stop it, or they have a lot of problem getting some equipment or some stuff. So I posted in a local forum saying I'm coming and I have checked bags, but I'm not bringing stuff. So if you need anything that comes from Canada or the US, let me know. I'll buy it for you, and you can pick it up at my place. And oh my God, everybody was like, "Can you get me a coffee machine? Can you get me like a bunch of people I didn't know?" I think the funniest request I've had was a juicer, a tent, like very random things that they just can't get. So that was my first opening door to meeting local people, because my first 2-3 days I had a bunch of random people showing up at my door, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so you're the coffee machine guy, here you go." And then people were like, "Oh, let me take you out for food," and they would pay me back, so I didn't have to change money when I got here, because people would pay me in local currency. And yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
So I met a bunch of people. Yeah, so I arrived here with 2 bags filled with goodies, and that's it. Now I'm good. When I leave, it's gonna be empty.
So when people ask you what you do, you tell them in a Russian accent, import export.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I work in it's an international business.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a consultant.
Right.
So that's how I met a lot of the local people here. Yeah.
All right. And so what have you been like spending your days doing? Like, I mean, you must have had a lot of time there, apart from training and teaching English to random strangers and bringing them coffee machines.
Well, okay. So usually when I wake up, I would just do my own training outside, or go for walks and explore, because like I did in Saint Bart here, same thing I did. Like I just go for long walks, because I think it's a good way to stop and go and be able to explore places. And I like to see what people are up to. Like to me, it's fascinating that on one of their big holiday here, I was like, I'm gonna go in the big mall. I want to see what people are doing, because they were going crazy over a big holiday, and for them it's quite a celebration, and the family would eat KFC. so for me, it's just what? It's very, very strange. It's very interesting, but like it's the kind of little daily life thing that I like to witness. And then I've been taking Russian classes online. So, and funny enough, when I was back home, my tutor, he actually is he lives 5 kilometers from me right now. So, but I didn't know that before.
Oh, so the person you took classes with in Canada lives right there, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he lives right here. And so now we were in local time, so it was much easier to plan classes. So I've been taking Russian classes every day. Then I was doing my little homework and doing that. So that was like 2-3 hours a day, easy. And then I would get ready for training. So because training sessions were usually, what I would do is I would go to the training session with the people that invited me over. So it was around 2 hours in the afternoon. Then I would catch a cab and I would go to Kazakhstan top team and I would do all the classes there at night. So it was like maybe 4 hours of training. So I think the first 2 weeks I was here, I probably dropped 5 or 6 kilos easy because I was training like 6 hours a day. And then on the weekend, that was mostly what I was doing was meeting up with people and going to random places.
Did you have you managed to get along well with just English, like also outside of training? And
not really, but like I said, my Russian is good enough, especially when it comes to those like taxi ride and meeting up and ordering and doing groceries. I mean, there's been some problem in some places, but it was mostly funny, the outcome. So English is definitely not enough, but everybody has a phone, and with all the apps you can get now, it's not even like an excuse. Like everybody's gonna start translating on their phone. I would say that the biggest issue has been if you don't have cash to pay for something. At first I was a little freaked out because the taxi driver was like, yeah, no problem, let's just go in the store together and make some change. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, let's just go together in the grocery store and we're going to ask the guy to cut your bill and you can make some change. And I was like, okay, that sounds like the plot of a movie. So like, I'm not like it's 10 o'clock at night and the guy is telling me, let's go together in this little store. We can buy a banana, you will get some change so you can pay for your cab ride. And I was like, those were the moments where I was like, yeah, just keep the change. Like I've had a few, yeah, just keep the change moments with with those very, very late cab ride. But beside that, everything is usually okay. I can blame my Russian more than their lack of English.
Right.
Like I think people get upset when they travel and they're like, oh, people don't speak English or they couldn't understand me. Yeah, no shit. Like it's Kazakhstan. Like they're literally surrounded by non-English speaking countries. Like not even close to an English speaking countries. So it's normal if they don't speak English. Like they all speak a few languages, but English is not one of them.
How is how is the city? Is it clean or dirty or poor, or how's like walking around there? You've been walking a lot.
Super developed, super clean, and there's no garbage bin to throw your trash, but nobody will throw their trash. But I think it's that leftover fear from the government. People are just very disciplined with everything. Like I saw one person total that looked homeless, and I wouldn't say he was homeless. Maybe it was just the town's drunk, and even then he was wearing a mask. So like it's very clean, it's very polite, it's very organized. The city is beautiful. Like I say, you're looking at like the buses, you're looking at big mall with the big Ferris wheel, but then you turn around and you see the mountain right there.
Yeah, I'm actually on Google Image right now, just like flipping through Almaty pictures.
Yeah, you can see the lake that's on top of the mountain. That place is just beautiful. And
have you felt unsafe in the city at any point?
Never. Like beside the last 2 weeks, but it's because the context is a little different. But like you mean the day to day, I've been walking everywhere and never been worried of anything, ever. Like, no.
So what would you say to all those 200 comments that were on the post in the members of BJJ Globetrotters Facebook group, where people were like super suspicious and they were sure that you should not go there because it was like you would die in a terrorist attack or get abducted or.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. No, the people were worried, but people are worried of the things they don't know. People are worried about the things that scare them. And I think it's just because a lot of people, they wouldn't be able to point out Kazakhstan on the map, but they have this big opinion about Kazakhstan. But all I can say is that it's one of the most beautiful and nicest place I've been and visited, because there's everything. There's tons of jiu-jitsu, tons of grappling. You can do outdoor stuff. You can do city stuff. You can do cultural stuff. There's everything in this city. There's actually nothing quite like it even back home. I would say maybe around British Columbia, maybe, because you get like the Rockies, you get the mountains, and you get the cities right there. But it's too bad that I wasn't able to travel more, because my plan originally was to also do all the other countries around, because I was like, every 30 days, like, you're supposed to get out and do like a visa run. But I was like, this is an amazing opportunity. I was not just gonna turn around at the border and come back in. Like, you can go to Uzbekistan, you can go to like Kyrgyzstan, and it's beautiful. Like, those places are right there, 3-4 hours drive away. Like, you can do the old Silk Road when you're in Kazakhstan. Like, so for me, I had planned many like 3-4 day trips. So for sure, I will come back to the region. Like, you don't need the visa to go to those places, and it's so different, but so similar at the same time. And from what I'm seeing, like, you're such at a central spot. Like, you can fly to Russia for $50, and you can fly to Korea for $100, and you can be in China in a few hours. Like, it's a really, really central place if you also want to travel while you're staying in one place. So, like, I think it's a really, really good opportunity for people, like, if they want to come here, like, because it's a big city, but you get everything, which is not always the case when you when you travel to other destination. You need to like take a day trip to go do something. But here, like, some people go camping like for one day, because you can go camping in the mountain and you're still close to home. So I think it's a really, really good spot. And no, I've never felt unsafe at all. And even with no Russian, I wouldn't feel unsafe. Like, it's a very well organized place, and yeah, and people are just very, very warm, and it's there's no risk in being in Kazakhstan at all.
Did you do you think you're gonna come back at some point?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's too much I want to do and see, and there's too many people I haven't gotten the chance to meet up with again, to either say goodbye or anything like that. So for sure, I want to come back. I want to come back with different equipment, sport equipment, to go to the mountain or go camping or hiking. I definitely want to go to Russia, and I think it's a good place to be if you then want to go to Russia. So for me, for sure, I would come back, and I would bring anyone who wants to come with me, because it's a really cool spot. Like, yes, I'm not into drinking in the big nightlife, but I think for some people it's also doable. I, there's so much stuff I want to try, and like, I had booked some activities with to get those traditional like Kazakh stuff to do. It's just not a possibility right now, but like, I totally want to do it, and I really want to do the old Silk Road, like, to all the Stan countries. So I think it's a good spot to be if I want to do it.
Right, and then came like what everyone probably like the moment where all your non-believers could say "I told you so," when the virus came and you were stuck in Kazakhstan of all places in a lockdown of the entire world with no flights. So how has this been, like, being there and everything?
Well, the response here happened much earlier than in the rest of the world, because they're so close to China. So already around February, the government had started closing the border with China. Um, and then they have, for people who are not necessarily familiar with Islam, the Quran says when there's a plague, you should close your countries, close your border, make sure nobody comes in or out. And the response of most of the countries after seeing what happened with Iran very fast, they just completely shut down their border. So I had been here not even 2 weeks that the borders were already closed. So I was like, well, my visa's gonna run out. That's great. So we went to immigration police, and they were like, it's no problem. We'll give emergency visa to everybody at least until April 20th. So don't worry about anything. So you're legal in the country. I'm like, okay, perfect. Because the way it works in Kazakhstan is the person hosting you is responsible for you immigration wise. Like they have to register you with immigration and they have to confirm that you're gone when you leave. That's why you don't need a visa, and the responsibility is on the person who's hosting you. So I just wanted to make sure that nobody was going to get in trouble. But now that like the government said, yeah, no problem, like we're going to extend the visa for everybody, I was like, okay, perfect. So everything was business as usual in the country until around March 13, when they said that, okay, we're going in full government shutdown and country shutdown. And I was like, okay, must be like they did a bit in China, like they're going to close the school and everything. No, they're not messing around here. Like everything shut down in 24 hours. Like all the stores, all the malls, everything that was not a pharmacy, a bank, or a grocery store, or a restaurant with delivery, everything shut down in one day. And everybody was sent home. And then 2 days after, it was the city was shut down because Almaty is a big city center, so they were trying to contain the cities. So with Nur Sultan in the north and us in the south, so they wanted to make sure that we were in isolation because we have two international airports. So they didn't want that to spread in the rest of the country where there's less infrastructure and hospitals. So they're like, okay, so we're gonna shut down those two cities, meaning you have 24 hours to decide if you want to stay in the city or if you want to be outside of the city, because after that you can't come back in or out. So they at least gave a little heads up to people, and that was the day that the military came into the country. And they started doing roadblocks to make sure that there was no way in or out the city. Um, and then they put the rule in place about not leaving your house and about not being able to gather, not even if it was Kazakh New Year's 2 weeks ago or so, people were not allowed to do any celebration. There was nothing on the street either. And then they kept like, at first it was the country, then it was the city, then it was by district, and now we have little zone, which is 5 kilometers, where we were allowed to walk or travel or do our stuff. So for me, it wasn't an issue because everything was still in that little zone. And then came you can't leave your house unless you have a paper stating your purpose for being outside. So yeah, so I'm lucky that I have an inside yard and that they're not enforcing it in the yard. They're just enforcing the no contact and you can't gather in the little yard. So I've been able to take walks at least and get some fresh air every day. But it's been and they're not messing around. Like you have military everywhere, cops everywhere. Um, I think they have some experience because of their past as well. And the government's been sending text messages every day with what's happening, at least. So I don't need to watch TV or check the news. It's we receive text, like for example, like when they started reducing hours for public transportation, they were like, okay, so after today you can't take public transportation after midnight. And then the day after it was like after 7. And then it was like, we're not going to allow more than 5 people per buses for essential work. Like, so at least we've been updated by text message. Like everyone who has like a Kazakh SIM card is automatically registered with the government. So at least I stayed in touch with what's going on here, just by receiving those bilingual messages in Kazakh and Russian every day on the situation. Um, and on the other end, my government asked every Canadian to come home. They just didn't plan that some countries would not let us go back home.
So you've been kind of you've been kind of stuck there, and like, has it been bad, or like have you just been, I don't know, what have you been up to? Has it been scary or?
No, not scary. Like not scary when it comes to the virus. More scary like not knowing what's the next big thing. Like like when it was still allowed to go outside, I would still go for a walk, but because they put a curfew in place, I've gotten pulled aside a few times by either military or security firms or cops. But it was never like, what are you doing there? It was mostly, are you going to be able to make it to your place before midnight? Um, and it was always nice, but I know that like the mood right now is very gloomy because people like are getting nervous and stressed out. Like everybody in North America, I find, is like, oh my God, we've been like isolating for 2 weeks, blah blah blah. But here it's almost been going on for a month. So it's not just and because they're so used to being in group and eating together and having their gathering, and they live with their whole family. So some people even have to self-isolate in their home because they're not allowed to be together, even if it's members from their own family. Um, it's a really difficult situation. Like back home, it's easy to be told self-isolate. People are going to be at home, and we have the infrastructure for people to work from home, whether with their computer or people can just like watch TV all day. But here, when you live with like your grandparents and your parents and your husband grandparents, and you live like with your whole family, it gets difficult. Like people will stay like I'm in a I have a 1 bedroom place, and some people in my building, they have the same type of apartment, but they're like 8 or 9 people living there. So I have no idea how they're doing it. Like they have the whole family staying in the same space that I've been going crazy living alone in, but they're sharing that space with a lot of other people, like sometimes 4 generation worth of people, with kids who can't play outside and with grandparents who are like vulnerable people, and we don't have here, and I say we because I'm part of it now, we don't have the infrastructure to support all the working from home stuff or the Wi-Fi infrastructure to be able to support it. Like the dollar has crashed. It's an oil country, so it has crashed too. Inflation is going crazy. Like so now people they're getting a little worried, but the government responded very fast to a crisis because they knew that they don't have the infrastructure or the hospital or the healthcare system to support a big crisis. So they had to do it right away. Like they couldn't take a risk to wait and see what's going on. Is it going to get really bad? Let's wait and see for the economy. So the government was like, look, we can't afford anyone getting sick. So we're just gonna like close everything down right now, and we'll figure a way out after. Which is different than, like, I would say in Canada or in the US, where the government's at the same time putting some measures, stay home, we will give you money. Here it's more like, stay home, you will get arrested if you go out. Every morning when I want to go for my little walk outside, like in my yard, I check if at least one person went before. Like I'm peeking at my window and I'm like, oh, okay, there's still nobody walking. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't go. Maybe something happened. I'm not aware. And then like every 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna see someone taking a walk. And I'm like, okay, that's my cue. Like it doesn't matter if it's like raining. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, it's my cue. I can go outside right now. Like someone did it. Like I think everybody's looking at their window. Like, can I go outside? Is it safe? Or like we're gonna see cops like being there. They're coming here to give fines to people because probably they got caught or their car was seen, and everybody's just waiting. You can see in their window. Everybody's staring like at the window, like the cops leaving, and everybody goes outside for a walk. Like, and it's like a yard with a park in the middle, so it's like totally like a prison. Like we have gates all around with security guards, and
Can you lift weights there and play basketball?
No.
No.
No. I'll be honest with you, there's like a kids playground, and once in a while you'll see the wild person going for a pull-up maybe. Like we're all kind of looking around, keeping our distance and walking in circle. And then and then you'll see that person going in the middle doing like 1 or 2 pull-up on the kids playground. And then they keep walking again. Like, and everybody's kind of looking at each other like, okay, I trust you. All right, I trust you too.
So how about your adventure of trying to get home, get back to Canada?
Oh, we're talking about that. Yeah. So I've been keeping a daily log as of March 12th of all my phone calls, emails, and attempts to go back home. So far, I'm holding tickets and valid tickets. I have flight to go to Korea. I have flights to go to Germany, France, Russia, London. I have 2 tickets to go to Turkey. None of those flights have happened. My goal has been, I'm going to try to get closer to home. Like I know I can't make it home, but I will try either east or west. Because, like I said, I'm in the middle of like the spice trade and the Silk Road, right? So like, I'm like, if hundreds of years ago they figured out a way to find America, well, I should be able to do it too. So I just need to find the right path to get there. So I had the itinerary through Turkey and then going back up to Europe to the countries that weren't closed. And my goal was to make it to London, because London has been very slow to respond to the crisis. So London is still open. So I just need to make it to London. And then I'm one ocean away. Like they speak English, and I'm one ocean away from being at home. Like I was like, if I make it there, I'll be okay. So I tried to go through there, and it didn't happen. So I was like, okay, I'll try to go the other way through Malaysia, and then all the way. And if I can make it to Vancouver, I'll be okay. Like I just need one way or the other to leave where I am, because there's no water around here. So I figured, as long as I can go as far as I can from being straight in the middle, like that's my get out of jail free card.
You literally just have to go any direction, and you'll get closer to home. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. I just need to start going in one direction or the other. But it was not possible, and every day governments, without giving notice, were like, yeah, we're just gonna close. Like, it looks bad. Let's just close. And so it's like I have tickets and I have my flights and I have my letters, so I can leave my complex. Like, I showed you a letter that shows like, yes, please let this person kindly go to the airport. They're trying to leave. Like, I've had many of those letters, like, to like just let me leave the country. And then they'd be like, yeah, your flight is canceled. And yet Google Calendar is like, oh, you're flying from France right now. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I tried to leave every route, and then I was really excited because last week the president of Belarus said, yeah, the crisis, we don't really believe in it, and Russia just closed its border, so it's a great opportunity for us to make money. Because Russia just closed. So the president of Belarus decided that, like, not only they're not closing, they're gonna lower prices to make sure that people want to come and discover Belarus. So I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've heard all day, but that's my chance. I'm like, that's it. I'm like, I gotta go to Belarus. Like, I have to make it there. like like that guy is welcoming me with open arms. So I went and checked, and there was a flight at 5 in the morning from Almaty to Minsk, Belarus. I was so excited. Only a 2-hour flight. So, and it was about $100. I'm like, that's it. I'm getting closer. Belarus is almost in Ukraine, and Ukraine is almost the European Union. Like, that's how much I've been trying to just get closer. So I booked a ticket to go to Belarus, and then there was a transit in France, and then I was flying to London, and then I found a flight the day after to go home. I was like, that's perfect. That's my chance. It's I'm gonna embark on this 40 hours journey, and I will go to Belarus, and I will go through Europe, and I'll make it home. And during that same day, so I'm all packing. I've eaten all my food. I've given away all my stuff. I've already spent thousands of dollars on flights to try to come back home. But now with all those separate tickets, I've just like outsmarted the system. Like, I found a way. And then the embassy messaged me to say, yeah, the government just closed the airspace. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, does that, like, do I care? Not really. Like, what do you mean it closed the airspace? Like, you can do that? Like, they close the sky? Like, what's happening? And they're like, yeah, like nothing's going on, even like commercial stuff, even cargo flight, nothing. Like, they closed it. I'm like, yeah, but my flight is like in 6 hours. Like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. I'm like, yeah, but it shows as my flight is active. And if I go on the website, it says it's active. And if I look on the airport website, it says that I can make it to at least Belarus. And like, they want me there. And no, it's not gonna happen. So now the airspace is fully closed. The government did a special announcement. They even closed it before telling embassies here in Kazakhstan. So even government personnel from the US and from Canada and other countries, I'm guessing, they got stuck here because land border were closed and domestic flights were all canceled for a while already. But now that you close the entire airspace, you can't even be, oh, I'm gonna pay someone and get on a cargo flight. Please, like, bring me to London. Like, you can't even do that. There's no possibilities anymore. So they're taking this very, very seriously. And yeah. So now all my flights got canceled. All the airlines, they only want to give you a vouchers. What am I gonna do with a voucher? Like, I don't need a voucher.
Well, if you go back one day, you have tickets to go back home again.
Yeah. So yesterday, the government messaged me, the embassy, saying, look, we convinced the government to let us have one flight so we can get most of the Brit, the Korean, the American, and Canadian out. Like we need this one flight kind of off the books, literally under the radar. Like there's one flight that's leaving for Korea tonight at 11 p.m. and they said you can try to go to Korea and then find a way back home. And I was like, yeah, I gave up. Like I've given up after my Belarus attempt. Like I was so excited to go to Belarus. I was like, yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up. You're not catching me again. I was like, I'll wait for a written confirmation and a solid confirmation because first of all, I'm out of money, and second, I can't do this. Like mentally, it's draining because like I know I have to plan my return back home. I'm gonna be in the mandatory quarantine. Like I need to plan what's going on with my family back home as well. So I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like tell me I'm here and it's okay. I'll be resilient and I'm turning fully Kazakh now. So it's like, it's okay. Or tell me I can leave. But like that going and coming and trying, it's nonsense. So I was like, I need a written confirmation that this flight is gonna happen, because like it's not even about the money. At one point, it's packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking. Like it's very complicated for me even to go to the grocery store here. So like, if you're telling me that like I'm staying here, I'll get the proper paperwork to be able to go get food. But if you're telling me that like I might leave, I'm not gonna go through like all that hassle, and like I'm just gonna hang in there and eat buckwheat. Like so, which is what I've been doing the whole week, like waiting. Am I leaving? Am I not leaving? Um, so tonight I will actually try
To go to
with
Korea of
all.
all places.
Yeah, I will try to go to Korea. Um, with all my stuff and all my documents and my letters from the embassy. And it's my last attempt because I've been trying and I've been booking so many flights on my credit cards that it's not that they maxed out, they just blocked them. Like the companies were like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming from Kazakhstan for flights all across the world, like the entire world. So we're just gonna block your card. That should help you.
How was so what time is it right now?
Right now it's around 8 in the morning,
Okay. And your
and
flight
my
is
flight
is
is
tonight.
11 p.m. The airport is 60 kilometers away, but with all the checkpoints and the control and everything that can happen, and if let's say that flight doesn't happen, I need to be back home before curfew. So my goal is to be at the airport extremely early because I need to find a way to get back to my place before curfew in case that flight doesn't happen. And I need to give my keys to my landlord. But then if the flight doesn't happen, I need to come back and find a way to contact my landlord to get my keys back
Before it's too late.
before it's too late.
Well, the adventure continues.
It's also the old mechanic, like the old mechanic of I can't meet him. So we need to like, yo, I'm gonna leave the key under that rock in the yard kind of situation. So I'm gonna make it to Korea maybe, and then I should be able to go to Chicago, and then maybe home. But
And I think since we purposely wanted to record this while you were still in Kazakhstan to kind of get the real like atmosphere of the whole thing. But I guess we're probably gonna publish this like before you leave or something, before you're home, I guess. So if people want to find out if you actually made it home or not, are you gonna post that in? You should post that in the members of BJ Globetrotters group, like where it all started.
yeah, I should. And like a lot of people have been I'm really grateful because most of the people who've been offering help, either through contacts or because they know people who work in airlines or people in many countries. Like that's been my number one support, has been people like, hey, if you get stuck in London, you can come to my place. Hey, if you get stuck in Russia, you can come to my place. Like everywhere, people have been really, really helpful. Like I haven't been posting to get attention, like in a pity way. It was more in the look, I need people to know I'm stuck there.
Right.
That's why, like, I know if I get stuck in Korea, I have people from Globetrotter who can come and pick me up, or I even have people from US camps who told me, hey, I speak Korean, so if something happened at the airport, here's my number. Like I can at least help you find a place. Like so I've been so happy and so lucky that everybody has just been coming very, very forward, either offering money or help or support. But it's not about the money, it's more about like
mega chicken pizza.
Yeah, but we didn't know that was gonna happen. I still don't know what was in that Canada sushi.
Well, it's probably for the best you don't know. Just leave the country. Don't look back.
Yeah, and but everybody's been so helpful and supportive, and I just want to go home. Like it's not because I don't like it here. It's just if I'm gonna be stuck between four walls, might as well have been stuck in my four walls, because I can't do anything anyway, and it's better to do it at home, and I don't want to like taint my old Kazakhstan experience with this. That's why I want to come back to make it right and to continue what was started and what started good and what started right and what was so pleasant and fun. So for sure, I want to come back.
So let's wrap this up, and you probably need to go pack your stuff again and get ready to go to the airport a little bit later.
Yes, no, definitely.
Eat the leftover pizza, horse pizza, the mega chicken,
yes,
all that.
Yeah.
And all right, so thanks for calling in from Kazakhstan.
My pleasure. I would like to thank the government of Kazakhstan for letting me make this call.
They're probably listening in right now. Do you want to say hello in Russian?
Yeah, definitely they're listening.
All right. Well, best of luck with your flight to Korea tonight. I really hope you make it. And who knows, maybe in a few weeks we're gonna have to make another episode about your life in Korea or something.
Perfect. And like I really hope that you're gonna do like a Corona Award of the Year, because it's only March and I've been in 25 airports. So anyone who wants to try, like they're welcome to try to beat me for this year.
Yeah, because nobody else is gonna travel all year.
Exactly.
All right, Valerie. Best of luck, and promise us you post in the Globetrotters Facebook group with an update if you make it hope, or if you're stuck somewhere. Or...
I will, and I'll definitely pay it forward. If anyone is stuck in Canada, well, they can come to my place.
Okay. All right. Enjoy the packing, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
All right. I'm back in the studio, which is my hallway. And it actually took me a bit longer to do the editing of this interview than I had originally thought it would. So while we waited for this to be ready, Valerie actually made her flight home through Korea, South Korea, and then back home to Canada. So you don't have to go check in the members of BJJ Globetrotters group if she's still alive. She is. And that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you want to listen to any of the older episodes of this podcast, just go to bjjglobetrotters.com/podcast. Our website is also where you can find out about everything else that's going on in the BJJ Globetrotters, including all our camps, which, of course, we're doing everything we can to cross our fingers every day to hope that they will all go through this year. And life will be back to normal. So, all right, until next time, stay safe, don't train yet, and have a nice day.